Hi, hello everyone. This is the second part of the tutorial Julius Caesar, a play by William Shakespeare. Act 3, Scene 2. This tutorial is presented by Vijit M, Assistant Professor in English, Department of English, Government First Grade College, Kuppa. As we had at the end of the last tutorial, Julius Caesar has been stabbed by Brutus, and there is a chaos in the whole of Rome. Now, after killing Brutus, after killing Julius Caesar, Brutus is in front of the crowd. Brutus addresses the crowd saying that while he loved Caesar, he loved Rome more than that. He asks them whether if they wanted Caesar alive and all the citizens of Rome to be slave, or whether Caesar to be dead and all the citizens of Rome to be free. Brutus honors Caesar for his bravery, but says he killed him because he was very ambitious. He questions them who wants to be slave. He repeatedly asks them who does not love his own country. He invites a response from the crowd, which cries out in support of him. Brutus concludes that he can have offended no one by his act of stabbing Julius Caesar. As Antony enters with Caesar's body, Brutus tells the crowd that he killed his best friend for the sake of Rome, and that he has the same dagger reserved for himself when his country should need his death. He then leaves to cheer the crowd, insisting that everyone to stay hear Antony's speech. The crowd is convinced by the Brutus speech that Caesar was a tyrant. Antony addresses the crowd. He says he came to bury Caesar, not to praise him. Brutus has said that Caesar was ambitious, and if that was true, then it was a bad fault in Caesar, and he has fully paid for it. Antony points out that he speaks with the permission of the assassins, and he calls Brutus an honorable man, as are all they are, as are all they are. He says that Caesar was his friend and always behaved fairly to him. Then he repeats that Brutus said Caesar was ambitious and Brutus is an honorable man. But then he begins to cast doubt on the case against Caesar. He points out that Caesar brought home many captives to Rome, whose ransom increased Rome's revenues. Was that ambitious? He even further questions when the poor suffered, Caesar pitied with them. Did that seem ambitious? Here, instead of uh, making Julius Caesar a villain, he questions the people about Julius Caesar's ambition, that is, helping the needy and responding and being pitiful to the ones who have suffered. Was that ambitious? He repeats for the third time that Brutus said Caesar was ambitious and Brutus is an honorable man. Again and again, the reputation of Brutus is an honorable man, in contrast to Julius Caesar character, comparing him to Julius Caesar character, makes us makes us feel that Brutus is really not an honorable man. Next, he reminds the crowd that 3 times he tried to present Caesar with a crown, and each time Caesar rejected it. Though the conspirators have a different analysis for the rejection of crown by Julius Caesar, but Antony feels that Caesar was a humble man and he was never ambitious. Once more, Antony repeats the reference to Brutus and the fact that he is an honorable man. He claims that he is not there to disprove what Brutus has said. He clearly mentions that he is there only to speak what he knows. He asks the crowd that since they all loved Caesar once, why can't they not mourn for him? For a moment, he is overcome by tears and has to pause. Once the same people who were behind Caesar hailing around him, now they are rejoicing over his death. Caesar asks those people to mourn for him as he is unable to speak further as the tears roll down. Antony's speech is beginning to have its little effect gradually. Convinced by the points what Antony has made, the crowd is ready to make changes in the sides and they denounce Brutus. Antony's, Antony claims it is not his intention to stir up rage against Cassius and Brutus, who are honorable men, according to previous speech given by Antony. Then he produces Caesar's will. If the people could hear it, he says, even though he does not intend to read it, they would kiss Caesar's hands, by which he means that they would be extremely grateful to him. Here, Antony doesn't want to bring up any rage or bring up chaos, but he wants what Caesar meant for his people in his will. So he brings up this and he reads the will. The crowd the crowd clamors to hear the will. But Antony says it is not good for them to know how much Caesar loved them. It will only inflame them and make them angry. The crowd continues to call for the will, persuaded by the clamor, tells them to form a circle around Caesar's corpse. Antony points to each of the many wounds in Caesar's mantle, describing which was made by which conspirator. It is really a painful act. He makes particular play with the wound caused by Brutus, whom Caesar loved. He particularly intentionally mentions the wound which was made by Brutus to Caesar while he was stabbing. When Caesar saw Brutus stab him, he was overcome by Brutus' ingratitude far more than any physical wounds. For the first time, Antony refers to the assassination as treason. Then he pulls back the mantle and shows the Caesar's body. The crowd is shocked and calls for revenge. Antony asks them to restrain, that is, to stop themselves, although, as he explains himself, refraining again to the honorable man, that is, Brutus, who killed Caesar, and saying that he has no gift of oratory unlike Brutus. That is, Antony, he doesn't know to speak like Brutus and to stir men into action. But if he were Brutus, and Brutus were Antony, then they would speak with passion and call for mutiny in Rome. The crowd is about to scatter and stir up a rebellion when Antony reminds them that they have not heard the will yet. People are ready to go and fight for their Emperor Julius Caesar, but before that, Antony reminds them they need to hear the will. Antony announces that Caesar gives to every Roman citizen the sum of 75 demarches. He also left his forest and orchards to the public pleasure grounds where anyone can walk. Hearing this, the common people rush off, owing to burn down the assassins' houses. Antony is satisfied by his speech, what his words and what they have achieved and what needs to be achieved will be unfolded later. A servant enters and tells Antony that Octavius and Lepidus, who are about to help him, have arrived. He also says that Brutus and Cassius have fled the Rome. Antony assumes it is because they have heard of how he had stirred the people up against them. Thank you.